in Coventry for a night of Formula One stock car racing. World Championship qualifying round here tonight at Brandon, sponsored by Ford and Slater. There's the shot of the Reds coming out for Heat 1. 156 Graham Blundell in view. Next to him 108 Steve Evans. Just behind number 2 Willie Harrison. On his outside number 306 Mick Noden. Interesting night tonight because tonight is when the gradings change. So there's one or two roof colours that have changed since the last time we saw Formula One stocks here on Screen Sport. And the starter sending them round. Mick Crocker retaining blue this month. Les Spencer 98, Les Hawkins 285, Gary Castell number 8, and 136 Dave Taylor back up from yellow into a blue roof. Well watered shale track here at Brandon, sun beating down still in the early evening, and the track's going to take a lot of water tonight to try and keep the dust down. Mick Noden, local rugby man indeed, back in red last month and keeping that red roof colour for the month of June. Willie Harrison on the inside, another veteran driver. Of course, Willie going right away back to the start of stock car racing in this country back in the mid-50s. Bobby Burns in a borrowed car you saw briefly. 225 white top at the front, Steve Ferris alongside 329 Stuart Young, and it's Young who has the inside. As the green flag drops, the race is underway. Stu Young leads off from Steve Ferris. Yellow top third, looks like Ray Scriven, number 110. 391, John Godwin just going through, followed by Terry Davis. 430, Mick Crocker already breaking through into the yellows. It looks, no, in fact, he's just on the front of the blues. And a spin out there, Willie Harrison getting stuck in with Les Hawkins, number 285. And so it's Ferris there, just having to hold out the challenge of that blue top, Les Spencer. And Spencer finding the gap on the inside, number 98. No, indeed, Ferris still blocking him. Very bright sunshine here tonight at Brandon. Glorious day here in the West Midlands. In the meantime, there we have a couple of the Reds getting well stuck in, and the car looks like it's just made an attempt to get into the pit gate. Yes, it's Gary Castell, number 8. So Castell with that large number on the roof getting a shunt for one of the Reds as he came past. Steve Ferris out there, number 225. And just behind Ray Scriven, 110. Stuart Young already a little way down the field. The yellows beginning to catch up. 499, Les Mitchell. Just behind him is number 499, and he's caused another yellow top. Yes, it's Terry Davis, number 458. And it looks like another car has just put the pumpkin on the pair of them to add to the problems. And it was Mick Crocker, 430. So first place is Ray Scriven, number 110, followed by number 225, Steve Ferris. Well, we don't often see Ray Scriven out racing. We do see Rob Scriven, of course, quite a bit, number 117. Steve Ferris, in the meantime, has hit back and is once more in the lead. There is Bobby Burns in that borrowed car from Dave Wadsworth. We saw that one up at Crewe the other week. Obviously he wouldn't be using it again, but he's hired the car again tonight. Of course, the main number 471 car is awaiting parts from America at the moment. Steve Ferris, 225, leads in the white top car. He's from Redditch in Worcestershire. And he's still holding out the challenge of the yellows coming through. We haven't seen too much of the stars, although there's one blue top there just clouding the fence, Mick Crocker. A couple of months ago, only a white top, now up to blue. So first place, it's 225, Steve Ferris. Second place, 485, Terry Jackson. And Jackson in the former Stuart Smith car, complete with the Super Stuart emblem on the spoiler. Number 98, Les Spencer, is a lap down on these two. Ferris still having that first place. We only have the 2 white tops in this race. And bear in mind that this is a World Championship meeting here tonight at Brandon, qualifying round for this year's World Championship, so the whites in with the chance of getting some unusual points here tonight if Ferris can hold on. The Reds in view there with Bert Finnegan just on the left of the picture, trailing Bobby Burns. Burns in third place. Fourth place is Peter Faulding, 33. Fifth is number 55, Bert Finnegan. So it was going to be a good race there. The third, fourth and fifth. Halfway stage now of this 16-lap race. Begin to wonder whether Ferris will hold on with Burns already up into third place. Terry Jackson in second, of course, is no mug. Terry from Burton-on-Trent. Les Hawkins' car parked on the infield. But Ferris has still something like a 20-yard lead over the second place man, maybe 30 if you include the Les Spencer car, which is a lap down. And there is that race for third place. Bobby Burns 471, 33 Peter Faulding, and number 55 Bert Finnegan. That should be an intriguing battle. Or will they just settle down for the steady points and not risk getting forced out and lose what they already have? Of course, that is the choice in stock car racing. Do you go for the win, go all out for the win, and maybe find yourself in the fence and get nothing? Or do you just settle down and collect the minor points and a place in the final? It looks as if Steve Ferris may well hold on all the way here, because that Les Spencer car, number 98, is doing a lovely job of blocking out the rest of the field. But now Terry Jackson's made the break in 485. Jackson through into second. And he's now got to contend with Stu Young in 329, and Young obligingly gets off onto the infield. So Terry Jackson safely ensconced in second place. In the meantime, it's Steve Ferris in 225, well clear in first place. It's a long way down to Terry Jackson now. There goes Jackson into the turn. Third place there, Bobby Burns. Fourth place, Peter Faulding. And fifth place, Bert Finnegan. Looks like Willie Harrison, I think he may be a lap down, otherwise he's in sixth place. I do suspect he got into trouble earlier on. 2 laps to go now in this first heat of the Ford and Slater sponsored World Championship qualifying round here at Brandon, all building up to that World Final at Odsal Stadium, Bradford, later in the year in September. That is the race for third place. It looks as if Ferris is going to hang on all the way for the win with Terry Jackson in second. There is Ferris indeed. 225 man, the commanding lead. There's Terry Jackson in second place. Rule out Les Spencer. Third place Bobby Burns. Fourth Peter Faulding. That order hasn't changed. Lloyd Faulding's looking for the inside line past Burns, but Burns is holding on. He didn't rate that car up at Crewe, but it looks like he can handle it well around Brandon. Of course, Burns a specialist here. The winner though, Steve Ferris, number 225. The white top hanging on all the way, virtually from flag to flag, for a win in Heat 1 here at Brandon. A white top winner, number 225, Steve Ferris. Not the most common event, certainly after the first month of racing. People like Les Hawkins, Mick Crockett certainly went well in that first month, and they moved up to blue after that. But that win for Steve Ferris will take him up certainly at least one roof grading when the July figures come out. In the meantime, Terry Jackson gets a second place in 485, and Terry not too far off the top of the yellow tops in the new gradings. And third place going to Bobby Burns 471, Peter Faulding fifth, number 33, and fifth was Bert Finnegan, number 55. We await official confirmation of those and the full top 10 placings in Heat 1 of this Brisca Formula 1 meeting here tonight at Brandon. Well, Steve, congratulations on that win. How many before then?
This is the first.
There's nothing like the first time, is there?
No, it was very worthwhile, because I've just spent a small fortune on rebuilding the engine after the last meeting here at Coventry, and well, like you say, it's well worth it.
How many points so far this year? Because I noticed at the bottom yellow was 9, so you must have something like doubled your points at least, mustn't you? Yeah, I must have put them up a fair bit. That's what I've been trying to do. I held yellow top for most of last season, but I lost it at the beginning of this season, went back down to white. Well, we've just had the new gradings out, and so you've got another month to wait before you go yellow, but that surely will put you into the yellow grade now, won't it, for next month?
Yeah, it should do, yeah. Hopefully, I'd like to go higher than yellow, but I can't quite afford the money to pour into it.
Do you travel much? Because I don't think we've seen you too much elsewhere.
No. As I say, the money is a little on the short side, as it is with a lot of people nowadays, I think, and I just try to do as many local as I can. I'm hoping to go to Skegness tomorrow if the vehicle will hold together.
The vehicle will hold together? What, the transporter you mean?
Well, you know, as long as we don't have too many troubles here tonight, you know, no exterior damage mainly, I think.
It's going to be a tough final though, isn't it? World Championship points at stake here tonight. Yeah, I should be out there trying my hardest, but we'll have to see how we do. Well, best of luck, Steve. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks very much.
Well, as those cars line up in the tunnel for Heat 2, let's take a very brief look at the official results of Heat 1. First, Steve Ferris, 225. Second was 485. Terry Jackson. Then came Bobby Burns, Peter Faulding, Bert Finnegan, Willie Harrison indeed in 6th place, Steve Evans in 7th, 8th Graham Blundell, 9th Dave Taylor, and 10th number 98 Les Spencer. So Les Spencer was lapped, but still got 10th place. But of course, 136 and 98 both are non-qualifiers for the final. Have to go through the consolation. Mo Smith coming out that well-turned-out 51 car, and Neil Pokorny's back to yellow for the month of June. And it looks as if that spoiler's had to be taken off, and it's being put back on. Yes, you can see the nuts being tightened up on the top as the recovery wagon does its best to shield the 74 car from view. And it's good to see Neil back up to yellow for the month of June. In the meantime, 175, Rob Pearce just going past, formerly number 281. Keith Riley retaining red for the month of June, went up from blue in May. Ian Higgins up to red, his first meeting as a red tonight, number 29. Ian Higgins, Captain Chaos. 155, Brian Suplin, he's up to red now. That's disrupted the nice overall paint scheme. 317, Nigel Hardy retaining blue for the month of June. 36, we've already seen his son. Now Rod Falding comes out. And behind him, the man who's back in racing after the discovery of his diabetes, number 100, Harry Smith. And at the back, number 212, Frankie Wayman. He's got a sticker on that spoiler as well. We might be able to pick that up later on and see precisely what's on there. Somehow I get the feeling it's a reference to the Aladdin pantomime that regular Brisca Stocks fans will know about. As we record this, still yet to take place, but by the time you view this, it will probably have already been staged. Now, Frankie Wayman, indeed, in that, I can tell you, by the way, is scheduled to play Chin Down. Aladdin, by the way, is Christine Hopes, and Widow Twanky is scheduled to be Stuart Smith. Hopefully by now, someone up at the studio will have mentioned it after one of these programs that that is precisely going on, so you've probably already been to see it yourself as you watch this. In the meantime, the fence is being done up there on the turn, getting the wire ropes into place. So we have, so far, 1 white top, 1 yellow, and 6 reds through to the grand final, including Bobby Burns racing in the borrowed car. 175, Rob Pearce then in view. Changed from 281, it is said, because he bought the former Glen Percy Transporter, which has a registration plate involving the number 175, and of course the coach and Transporter all bedecked with 175 references. I think you'll find, certainly if our information is correct, that is the reason why Rob switched. Might be another one. In the meantime, Nigel Hardy there in 317 alongside Andy Webb, number 247. Veteran driver, former top man in Formula 2 racing. A couple of years ago, the uncle of Gary Castell that we saw in the first race. As you see, he shares with Mr. Castell a liking for a very large number plate on top of the roof, I think acting as a different kind of spoiler, a vertical spoiler you might say, instead of a horizontal one. So it'll be interesting to see how some of these drivers adapt to new roof colours tonight. In the meantime, Terry Davis's car is still yet to be removed following the first heat, so the Loughborough-based driver is being towed back, not to Loughborough, but into the pits. Well, the cars are now on their rolling lap. Brian Suplin up with the reds now after quite a spell at blue, certainly ever since we started covering Formula 1 stocks. Brian from Lincoln, as I mentioned as he came out, the all blue and white car has now been disrupted with a touch of red. I'm sure he won't be too disappointed to have the red on the roof. One man going in a different direction is Chris Paxford, who's moved from yellow down to white and again disrupts a rather nice overall colour scheme. Chris Paxford from Cirencester in Gloucestershire, if my memory serves me right. In the meantime, 3 yellows behind, just a solitary white top. No, indeed, he's got one on the outside, with the logo Turbo Willie on the front of the wing. Well, now, there has been an observation made in the sports magazine, Stock Car magazine, about our attention to Mr. Higgins in the Captain Chaos car. Well, it is not to be denied that an interesting name can capture attention. Of course, we don't want it to go crazy. In the meantime, though, Rob Pearce, again in shot. And there is John Wright, number 128. He's moved down from blue to yellow for the new month, complete with large wing and advert. John, as you can see, based in the Long Eaton area. Nicely turned out vehicle indeed. Certainly gleaming in the sunshine. It put a nice coat of gloss on. I'm sure he wasn't too happy with having to put the new coat of gloss on. Rob Scriven on the outside of it, number 117. Behind Neil Picorni, 74. Ray Bird, former white top, now yellow, in 46. Alan Long, 219, just behind him. And 248, Graham Atkinson. As you've probably heard before, Graham is one of our viewers, so good evening, Graham. Hope you're enjoying seeing yourself. In the meantime, starter Brian Beat walks away from the cars, looking up at the box, I feel. Well, the rolling lap having been halted, they're now being sent off again. I think they were just lining up, actually. Ian Higgins just hidden by the Brian Tuplin car, complete with that name on the side that's caused a fair amount of comment in the various magazines. But as one writer did say, it does get him noticed, and he's now matching the driving to go with the attention got from the name. I think you'll agree. Up from yellow to blue, and now up to red. And indeed, a good red top at that. Number 18 in the current points chart. Brian Tuplin on the outside of him, just a little higher on 174 points, 15th place overall. Rob Pearce, 175. Looking at the points list, he doesn't appear to be in the top 20, so I think he's retaining his roof colour. So Tuplin and Higgins go around near the back of the field, but there we have the real superstars. Rod Faulding, one of the star drivers, and 100, Harry Smith, who has just missed out, in fact, on superstar status this month. Of course, due to the lack of racing at the start of the season. Yellow flags are out, though. Going for another rolling lap here at Brandon. Two whites going around. Oh, yes, that one with Turbo Willie on the way, by the way, was Phil Wheelton. Car number 411, the outside man on the grid, alongside his fellow white top, Chris Paxford. Malcolm Nichol with a very well turned out car there, number 322, complete with the patriotic gesture on the roof. On the outside of him, blue top 139, Stuart Smith. A new colour scheme for the bonnet of the car, Mo Smith, 51. Nigel Hardy just behind. So I think we've covered most of the cars prior to heat number 2 in this Ford and Slater sponsored World Championship qualifying round. Of course, the first qualifying round of the season was up at Skegness in the March meeting that we covered. So we saw the start of the road to Bradford. Now the road starts to gather a little pace here tonight at Brandon as the cars do themselves on the rolling lap, waiting for Brian Beat to show the green flag. As you can see, the sunlight causing one or two little problems in getting the light level matched of the racing, as seen through our cameras. Phil Wheelton goes away, and 459 Paxford was taken out in that turn. Looks like about 3 cars got stuck in. Rob Cowley there, number 73, one we didn't catch early on. Andy Webb rather, hitting the infield, and Mick Stecco has managed to perch himself on top of Rob Scriven's car. So those two forming a tandem pairing now. Stu Smith, 139, going past Alan Long there at a fair rate of knots. You can see the first and second over on the far side. And the second place man indeed is Neil Picorni. In the meantime, Frankie Wainman on the inside of a car that should be pretty familiar to him. Another Wainman car indeed. That of Higgins. Nice Mercedes grille on the front of Alan Long's car there. Graham Atkinson behind him at a halt, and Phil Wheelton getting back into the race. In the meantime, Mick Stecco's got himself off that other car. Keith Riley's parked on the infield. It's more like a consolation race, isn't it? Heat 2 here at Brandon, proving to be quite spectacular. John Wright cutting a fine dash there in a 128 car. Rob Pearce, in the meantime, is making friends with Mick Stecco as well. But looked at the start, so we only had the 2 whites, but indeed we did have Stecco as well. Malcolm Nichol finds his way into the fence, I think pretending there, to be a greyhound hare. In the meantime, John Wright getting stuck in that fence as well, just being nudged out completely by Neil Picorni. Well, Wright was the brief leader, I feel, there. Picorni through, but anyway. Picorni first, second is 248 Graham Atkinson. And in the meantime, Mr. Higgins with the back end being shoved out there. That is over the car. Neil Picorni putting the bumper in on Stuart Smith and shoving him out to the Alan Long car. Now Rob Scriven's going to be the next victim. Picorni revelling in his upgrading here tonight. Picorni looking to put the bumper in on the back marker. Rob Scriven, number 117. And he's edged him out of the way. A very determined drive by Neil Picorni indeed. In number 74, he's from Desford in Leicestershire. Rob Scriven's not giving up easily, though, still trying to put the bumper in retaliation. In the meantime, Frankie Wayman working his way through. Ray Bird and 247, Andy Webb just in front of him. He's just got Rob Cowley behind him. Stuart Smith, 139, apparently in second. Neil Picorni now in front, number 74. There's Stuart Smith, 139 from Chesterfield. Alan Long getting himself into trouble, number 279, spinning out there on the turn. Smith getting past with a few problems, driving out the car pretty fast. And over onto the dog track. And indeed, I think finally it was Mick Stecco there. Stuart Smith in the meantime going around the back, 139. Mo Smith, 51, now has got past Graham Atkinson, so Atkinson's dropping down the order now. Halfway stage. Flag goes out. Neil Picorni looking good here. Looks like we're going to get a couple of lower order men again getting wins here at Brandon. Does seem to produce wins amongst the C graders, the B graders rather, and the C graders. We had a C grade winner in the first race in the shape of Steve Ferris, the white top. And a B grade yellow top, number 74. Neil Picorni leads in this one. Looking down to second place. Nigel, I'm sure, is lapped. Second place is Mo Smith. Third place is Andy Webb. Fourth is Frankie Wayman. Fifth looks like it could be Rob Cowley there. Sixth, Ian Higgins. Seventh, Harry Smith. Brian Tuplin up there well as well. And number 46, Ray Bird. And that is the point up to which Neil Picorni has lapped. There is Picorni bringing up the dirt on the turn here at Brandon. Shifting plenty of shale in this heat. Number 2. So Neil Picorni looking good for the win here. He's a middle order yellow top. Neil Picorni with 24 points so far this year. So it's Neil Picorni going into the turn in first, still closing in on Ray Bird, looking for the gap past. Malcolm Nigel could well be in second place. I suspect that Nigel could be a lap down. Apparently in second. Let's look down the order off that turn. Mo Smith just coming around him. Andy Webb, well, Wayman we know is in fourth place, so Nigel must be a lap down. Mo Smith will be second. Mo Smith second in number 51. Third place Andy Webb, 247. And fourth, 212, Frankie Wayman. Indeed, Malcolm Nigel a lap down. Oh dear, Mr. Chaos, or rather Captain Chaos, must give him his title, has found Rob Pearson's car out in the bend. Going into the last lap, Neil Picorni out in front. Burst of flame coming from the engine, mounted down low in that car. Picorni now, just a few yards to go in heat 2 to come in for the win, fighting the wheel on the last bend. Not bothering to go past Ray Bird. It's going to be close though, because Mo Smith's not far behind. Mo Smith second in number 51. So it's 74 first. Neil Picorni second, 51. Mo Smith. Third is 212. Frankie Wayman just getting past Andy Webb at the end to get third place in heat number 2. And fourth place indeed was Andy Webb. So good race there for the yellow tops with Neil Picorni getting the win. And the blue top finally qualifying, the first of the night, Mo Smith. Third place Frankie Wayman, the national points champion, having a marvellous race there with Andy Webb, getting through into that third place. Andy Webb just relegated to the fourth on the final lap. Well, Neil, a win here tonight, is that your first of the year?
Not the first of the year, no. It's the first one at Coventry in 5 years, though, you're trying.
That's quite a weight, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so, yeah. We had a good win, you know, like at the weekend. We won that Dash for Cash at Bradford for £1,000, and we had a good second and a third in the final at Long Eaton, which is the best sort of weekend we've ever had since we've ever raced. So it's quite a good relief, to say the least.
Well, you've just come back up from white, back up to yellow. You must be...
Yeah, that's right, yeah. We think we've probably got enough points maybe just to get into blue anyway, which would be, for us to be another first as well, so that would be quite good.
How long have you been in the game now?
Well, I've been running for 4 seasons. This is my 5th year this year. But on point, you know, so on meeting averages, we've probably only done as many meetings in this four years than probably Frankie Wayman does in a season. So, you know, we're quite pleased, really.
So you must be missing Leicester.
Very much so, yeah, very much so. Yeah, obviously, because not just because it's a local track, but it was a great track, and I tried a lot at the time to see if we could ways of keeping the track there. But obviously, money prevails in this day, doesn't it? So
you were actually involved in trying to save the place?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically in the sense that I sort of rang up the promoter of the Speedway at the time, and I went to the Leicester Mercury, and at actual fact, I was just in sort of proceeds of getting programmes organised with the local commercial radio station, and hoping that, you know, we could lift the sport up a little bit more in that area.
So it makes a nice housing estate now, if anything, doesn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Yes, another stadium to go to the wall in such a way.
Well, it is, yeah. It's I can understand. I mean, obviously, people are in this world. I'm a businessman, and I'm there to make money and to make a living, and so are they. So, you know, it's a shame for the supporters as well. I mean, obviously, we had a good support at Leicester, probably far better than the Speedway, I would say. But obviously, the money prevails, as I say, at the end of the day.
Yes, it seems to have produced quite a few stock car drivers over the years. You look at the list of drivers, and Leicestershire everywhere, certainly over here at Brandon.
Yeah, well, that's very much so. And also, I mean, the track itself, I mean, there's been some tremendous drivers that have come there from a local area, and we've got a good local support of drivers as well. But I mean, if you look at the track, I mean, I don't think a lot of people realise that Leicester had been track of the year. I think it was for 3 years in a row. I mean, from the driver's point of view, it was a fast track, it was narrow, and it gave the crowds plenty of spectacle. And that's a selling thing in stock car racing, obviously.
Well, sadly, no replacement forthcoming as yet. But on the other hand,
no.
You've still got Brandon.
Yeah, well, it's a great track, this as well. I mean, it's superb. I mean, to be associated with a stadium like this, with Bellevue and now Bradford as well. I mean, hopefully with your help, which I think is a tremendous boost for this sport anyway, we can maybe lift the sport up to a higher level.
Well, as the cars come out now for heat number 3, let's take a very quick look at the result of heat 2. And yes, there was a slight error in there. Yes, Malcolm Nigel indeed was in the qualifying order. And the result is as follows. First, number 74, Neil Picorni. Second, 51, Mo Smith. Third, Malcolm Nigel, 322. Our apologies to Malcolm there. Fourth, 212, Frankie Wayman. Fifth was Andy Webb, 247. In sixth place, Hurricane Harry Smith. Seventh place, 73, Rob Cowley. Eighth, 155, the Lincoln Imp, Brian Tuplin. Ninth place, number 46, Ray Bird. And 10th was 248, Graham Atkinson. So Ray Bird and Atkinson both miss out, have to go through the consolation. The top 8 qualify for the final. Well, Stuart, the maestro himself, or should we call him Widow Twanky for the evening, maybe. It is a temptation, but there again, don't want necessarily to get on the wrong side, the world champion. At the back of the grid, alongside Dave Beresford, there we have the main group of Reds. Joe Jopling on the inside position on the right in the marquee car, number 452. 354, Richard Ainsworth, just on the outside of him. Dave Mellor in the 304 car. 422, Nigel Wharton, heat and final winner in the first meeting of the season here at Brandon. And there are the two top men at the back. Further up the grid, 327, Howard Davis from Cheltenham. 228, Fred Skinner from Bromsgrove on the outside. Or Redditch, rather, not Bromsgrove. I got Fred's name wrong the last time we saw him. Now I'm getting his town wrong. In the meantime, the two white tops lead them off as the green flag drops. So this is the third heat of the qualifiers for the grand final, the World Championship qualifier here at Brandon. Bashford getting in the thick of things there in 107. Basher himself. And talking of Basher, Stuart Smith going past Nigel Wharton. Dave Tapping's been hung up to dry on the fence. Getting out of the car pretty fast. In the meantime, there's first place. In the meantime, there's problems on the far side. Nigel Wharton spinning out. Joe Jopling taking a bang from Dave Mellor. And there's a car rolled over into the fence, and I suspect, we're not too sure who it is. There's a suspicion that it's a red top. I wonder if that could be Ainsworth. Because I don't think I've seen the 354 car around ever since then. As you notice there, by the way, Pete Bashford's still got yellow on the spoiler, but he's blue top now. John Lander just edging through on the inside, so a chance there for Joe Jopling to get back underway. Let's hope the driver in the overturned car's all right. As I say, we can't tell you who it is at the moment, because quite simply all we can see is what you can see, the bottom of the car. Warren Jackson threading through on the inside, number 104. Dan Clark, 203 just behind. The colour scheme of the car looking a bit better now. He's back into red. Of course, this is one of the incentives for drivers to get back to their original grades, is only to preserve the colour scheme. No, it's not Ainsworth that's over. There he is, 354. There's going to be a complete restart of heat number 3 in the meantime. So those drivers that got themselves into trouble early on in that one have a reprieve. with a complete restart of Heat 3. In the meantime, they're attending to the driver. Looks like a member of the Des Chandler racing team, if not Des himself, is over there. I wonder if it could be the 213 car. Anyway, at the moment, all we can do is suppose until we see it righted. Well, the confirmation is that it is indeed Des Chandler who is overturned on the far side of the track. In the meantime, they've got to remove those 3 cars to get ready for the restart. In the meantime, also, they've got to get rid of that tyre that's found its way into the middle of the track, creating a mini roundabout on the exit to or at the entry to the 4th turn. In the meantime, part of the hardware here at Brandon up there, the car they send the Coventry B Speedway team round in after their wins here at Brandon, just on the inside of the track. In the meantime, over comes the 213 car. Beautiful view there of the latticework construction of the Formula 1 stock car chassis. They're going to have to move Jopling out of the way to get the 213 car over, and there it is. Well, Bobby Burns said he'd be a spectator after the recent crew meeting. Well, it looks like he's determined to be a spectator out on the terraces there. But, of course, apart from spectating, has been racing and, of course, made the final out after Heat 1. In the meantime, of course, going in Heat 1, he has plenty of time to settle back and watch a few races before the final comes up, and that indeed he's doing here. Burns very much a track specialist here at Brandon. And indeed on the current position, he's 4th place in the Brandon Track Championship. Incidentally, Nigel Wharton leads. Stuart Smith is 2nd, Rod Faulding is 3rd, Bobby Burns 4th, Bert Finnegan 5th, Dave Mellor 6th, Frankie Wayman 7th, and Peter Faulding 8th. That's in the overall points scored so far this year here at Coventry. There is the aforementioned Mr. Smith. And talking of Burns, we've seen Bobby Burns, now here's Kevin Burns from High Wycombe. He can cause 1 or 2 little problems now and again. I do remember last time we saw Kev, he suddenly appeared on the track from the centre green right in front of the leader. Whether or not it was a desperate ploy for a bit of attention from the camera, I don't know, or whether it was just a simple fact of not necessarily seeing who was coming. We can never tell. Kevin Burns, though, can be relied upon to provide a bit of entertainment up front. Kevin, another one of the drivers who live well away from a Brisca circuit at High Wycombe. Meantime, David Squire, computer number 11, and problems there, 227 and 62, mixing it. Robbie Craig, number 62, 327 rather, Howard Davis. Richard Ainsworth and John Lander getting to know each other there. Also parked up is the Des Chandler car in the background. They couldn't get that back underway for the 2nd attempt at Heat 3. In the meantime, Kevin Burns is 1st, 2nd is Robbie Craig, 3rd is Howard Davis. Pete Bashford coming through in the blue top. Nigel Wharton getting through that field, and so is Stuart Smith. Dave Beresford's got the jump on him though in car number 260. David Squire taking the shortcut via the Brandon turf in the middle. Howard Davis now making the challenge for the lead past Kevin Burns for 1st place. Howard with a very upright style of body on the 327 car. Little wide on that bend. 2nd place Kevin Burns. Dan Clark getting edged out wide there by and clouting Nigel Wharton as he came back in. Looks like Dan Clark's carrying a sticker for the pantomime as well. Meantime, Stuart Smith driving hard underneath Clark, and he is just following Beresford round at the moment. I don't know whether he's going to knock Bez out of the way, or maybe he's just using him as for a bit of guidance as Beresford knocks him out of the way. Smith follows him through. In the meantime, Nigel Wharton looks like he's going to be the next victim, but Smith just edges him wide. There's the race for 2nd and 3rd. Pete Bashford 2nd, Kevin Burns 3rd, so the Southerners in 2nd and 3rd place, the man from Brentwood and the man from High Wycombe. In the meantime, a real true northerner, Stuart Smith from Rochdale, past Murray Harrison. He's now dropped Beresford. Oh, getting well involved there because number 97, Murray Harrison, is doing his best to learn how to drive the Stuart Smith way, I think, by trying to talk to him as he goes round. In the meantime, Dave Mellor is taking very little interest in it. He's busy chasing a tyre. Robbie Craig on the inside of that group there, number 62, I think you'll find, yes, and becoming a sandwich between the marquee car and Murray Harrison's car of Joe Jopling. Plenty of action coming up in this one as well. Well, Nigel Wharton, after escaping the challenge of Mr. Smith, is in 3rd place. And Stuart now hunting a couple of yellow tops. There's Pete Bashford just holding off the race leader, Howard Davis. And Pete Bashford out 1st, I believe, now. Bashford has indeed broken through to first place. Mellor just coming back onto the track in 3:04 across the bows of Bashford. And Stuart Smith's found his way into the fence, and he doesn't care how he gets out of that. He's going, I think he must be a little angry there. He seems to be trying to get back into the race by just trying to get rid of Robbie Craig. In the meantime, he seems to be trying to getting onto the dog track. Stuart Smith finally reversing out of it, after I think maybe giving Robbie Craig a couple of ideas of what he thinks of him. I don't know. Certainly giving Craig some hammer, and indeed Smith pulling off. I think he's bent something there. Certainly the side of the car looks well bashed in. Stuart Smith now a spectator on the infield. And indeed there's a battle going on. Robbie Craig has now come over to Stuart Smith, and there's a battle away from the race now. Robbie Craig drove straight on there, I'm told, and straight into Stuart Smith's car. So after that attack by Smith on the outside, Robbie Craig getting his revenge. Well, I think we'll leave them to it on the infield. In the meantime, let's get on with the sport. That is the stock car racing rather than the boxing. Peter Bashford past Dave Mellor, 3:04. Dave getting in the way slightly of the race at the moment after spinning out earlier on. So first place it is Pete Bashford. Second it's 4:22 Nigel Wharton. Third place is 2:60 Dave Beresford. Brian Beat puts out the signal for Bashford, confusing the issue slightly by retaining the yellow on the side of the wing. I'm sure you can see why though, it's very nicely painted up there, but of course the rest is blue now with his advance up through the gradings. That's the race for the second place, and Nigel Wharton obligingly spinning out wide there, but Beresford can't take advantage as Wharton recovers in time past the lapped 4:92 Kevin Burns. There's the gap between first and second. You saw Bashford disappearing out of the picture. Good race for second place here. Wharton in second, Beresford in third. These two red tops battling it out here in the Brandon sunshine. I think Beresford's found the gap there, but Wharton's got the speed on the outside. Beresford now resorting to some use of the bumper. Wharton going on a wide outside line. Beresford, though, has finally found the gap, nudges Wharton out of the way and through into second place. So a fair old battle going on there between Beresford and Wharton. Going into the final lap, Pete Bashford looks fairly safe in 1:07, although he's being held up now by David Squire in the number 11 car. Pete Bashford coming in now for the race win. The flames barking out of that American engine in that car. The flag's out. Pete Bashford first, number 107. Second, Dave Beresford, 2:60. Third place, Nigel Wharton. Looks like Dan Clark may have got fourth. Dave Mellor, I think, we'll find was a lap down there. So Dave Beresford, second place, number 2:60. But a good win out in front for number 107. Win out in front. Where else did he win? Pete Bashford gets the win in 1:07. Second place was number 2:60, Dave Beresford. Third place, Nigel Wharton. And it looks like Dan Clark may have got the fourth. We'll give you the full official results just before the next race. Dave Beresford, though, after a marvellous battle with Nigel Wharton, getting the second place, but take nothing away from the winner, Pete Bashford, 1:07, completing a sequence now that has seen a white top, a yellow top, and now a blue top win races here at Brandon. So by that, we should have a red top star win the consolation, and a superstar win the grand final of tonight. Well, Robbie Craig, what happened there between you and Mr. Smith?
I think he must have mistook me for somebody else. I've just sprayed my car, so I don't know. It just comes straight in the side. His own fault. If he gives it out, he wants to take it back.
Of course, you were both out there at the fence, and he was trying to get back into the race just by ramming you, it seemed.
Yeah, well, it didn't come off. It didn't get back in for long. Saying that, he'd probably go out and win the next one, like, but that's up to him.
A bit of tension out there, because one or two yellow tops seem to be after him in that one.
It's not a matter of being after him. It's a matter of whether they want to drive all over you or not.
Because one or two people did say at the last Coventry meeting, well, there was a quote I read somewhere. A newcomer to stock car racing said, why do they all move over for the gold top car?
Yeah, probably somebody trying to make a name for himself.
But anyway, you obviously didn't get a position there. The consolation is going to be an interesting one, isn't it?
Yes, I should think so. See what happens then.
I'm sure we'll be looking forward to that one. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, before I give you the results of Heat 3, I can tell you there has been a revision to Heat 2's finishing order. Malcolm Nigel, indeed, was on studying the lap charts, has marked down the order, and indeed the result was amended with Frankie Wayman moving up to third place, all the other cars moving up one, barring Graham Atkinson, who remained in 10th with Malcolm Nigel 9th. In the meantime, let's take a look at the result of Heat 3. First, Pete Bashford, 107. Second was Dave Beresford. Third, was Nigel Wharton after a marvellous battle with Bez. 4th place, 203, Dan Clark. 5th was Howard Davis. 6th, Mike Shirley. 7th, Joe Jopling. 8th, Murray Harrison. 9th was 228, Fred Skinner. And 10th was 492, Kevin Burns. So those last two mentioned drivers go into the consolation, which is the next race on the programme here at Brandon. Interesting to see whether Mr. Smith mixes it with one or two of those drivers. Now, Robbie Craig was saying that he thought he might have been mistaken for another car by Stewart. Now, Murray Harrison was giving Stewart plenty of stick earlier on. Murray, though, just got into the final in 8th place, of course, in Heat 3, so he won't be coming out in this one. In the meantime, Stuart Smith has got problems with the car in the pits. Ian Higgins acknowledging the mention that he's getting. Yes, there'll be another fiver in the post tomorrow, I think. Richard Ainsworth just behind, 354, coming out before the lap. And the track staff here are always so superbly marshalled, just stopping John Lander before he comes out as the track preparation continues, and out they can go now. John Lander 23. In the meantime, the sun is down and we've got a replacement up there. So while that stand-in observes the racing, the man in the moon showing up pretty well there tonight. A full moon almost. Well, we've already seen maybe a bit of midsummer madness here tonight. Interesting to see whether anyone's going to be getting a little hairier tonight. Well, Brian Beats sends the cars round now on the rolling lap for the 4th race of the night here at Brandon, and under the standard Formula One formula. This, of course, is a consolation race where all of the non-qualifiers from the previous heats, if possible, race, which in theory would put together Stuart Smith and Robbie Craig. But Stuart's got an oil pressure problem in the pits, apart from, I think, also a blood pressure problem. After that little battle with Robbie Craig, he's not going to take part in the consolation. So the cars going around now on this rolling lap. Des Chandler in view there, number 213, had the rollover, of course, in an earlier race, in his previous, but it was an earlier race, of course. Des Chandler. 322, Malcolm Nichol, indeed, after being marked down, after studying the lap charts, has to go out in the consolation. Taking his place was Ray Bird. John Lander, Des Chandler in view. The green flag drops. It's 329, Stuart Young away, Chris Paxford 2nd. Mick Stecco is 3rd, 4th is Kevin Burns, 5th Alan Long, 6th John Goodall, 7th Graham Atkinson getting spun out there. There's some metal being twisted there, I think you'll find. Graham getting pushed into the fence. Meantime, 395, Mike Shelley was getting stuck in. Mick Crocker's gone out, and there's Dave Tapping, Warren Jackson, Rob Pearce, all involved in the thick of things on the turn. Mick Crocker, in the meantime, doing a human acrobat job over the fence to get onto the dog track. Rob Pearce going in on Stuart Young. And indeed that, I think you'll find, is Rob Pearce through into 1st place. Rob Pearce through into 1st place. Stuart Young 2nd, did 329. And Stuart Young's managed to find one of those cars. And indeed he's got a flat tyre, hits the side of the car, and I think that speaks for itself. In the meantime, the list of cars piling up in the pit turn is increasing, or indeed that's the, yes it is the pit turn. 391 John Goodall, the latest victim. That's a famous racing number. Of course, it used to be carried by the present number 1 driver, Stuart Smith. So a long view down the dog track and onto the stock car circuit. Looks like Kevin Burns has been given a nod by starter Brian Beats. No, indeed. Yes, Burns has gone out. That puts Des Chandler through. And it's going to turn the Indians out there, but gradually the pile-up grows on the pit turn. The tyre getting involved in the act now, as I think Mick Noten clouds it. Rob Pearce also. In the meantime, Malcolm Nichol getting himself out of trouble. Rob Pearce getting well stuck in this one. There's Dave Taylor, 136, back up from yellow to blue. Here at Brandon tonight, and he's found a tyre as well. Certainly they seem to be giving out the tyres like green shield stamps tonight. Every driver seems to get one. In the meantime, Des Chandler trying to find a way over Chris Paxford's car. I think really he ought to use a ramp. Rod Falding putting the bumper in as Chandler looms in front of him. John Lander just behind. Dave Mellor's in there. And it's Gary Castell, number 8, who leads. That is the confirmation from the starter. We're looking for number 8 at the moment. There's Rod Falding getting edged out by John Lander. Really, the leader is not so significant here. Robbie Craig's in there without Stuart Smith. In the meantime, John Lander and Dave Mellor having the battle. With all the action going on out there. In the meantime, Gary Castell has the lead. Going past Les Mitchell, the northeastern-based yellow top, 499. And in the meantime, Mick Stecco making an attempt to go through the pit gate. Ian Higgins in the meantime. Yes, the first time we mentioned Ian in this race. Coming up the turn now. Les Mitchell, 499, having been lapped by Gary Castell, trying to get back into the race. Castell moving in now, Graham Atkinson. And just edging him out into the wires. No, indeed, just short of that. Gary Castell having a good drive here. Gary, number 8 driver, just looking down for his town. I don't think I can see it at the moment. Yes, Daventry, Northamptonshire, so local driver. Daventry, where they get all those radio aerials up on the motorway. More spot when you get into the M6, can't you? When you're going up the M1, or rather, certainly going the other way, down the M1. In the meantime, John Goodall, 391, yellow top. Just past all the scrap metal on the outside. Scrap metal, think about the value that's in some of those cars. They may look like, some of these cars may look like they've just come off a banger race. But there's a lot of money invested in these vehicles, and that sounds, or looks rather like John Goodall. Look, he's going to have a very costly race because there's a lot of smoke coming out of that engine. Gary Castell, in the meantime, having to go through the smoke screen. Nigel Hardy coming through the field pretty well. He looks like to be he's in second place, I think you'll find. Yes, indeed, Nigel Hardy second in 317. The halfway stage is reached. Gary Castell must be wishing he could just get past John Goodall so he can see where he is. Whether or not Gary Castell indeed saw the signal from the starter is yet to be seen. In the meantime, he's found his way onto the bumper of Goodall. A good old-fashioned consolation race here. In the meantime, Les Spencer and Ian Higgins getting caught. Which one's going to get back into it? Dave Taylor's trying to help them out. And in the meantime, Rob Scriven was going through. And indeed, Nigel Hardy is second. He's found a barrel at the moment instead of Gary Castell. He was looking for Gary Castell, just found a barrel. Indeed, there is Hardy, battling with the wheel, having removed the offending object off the bumper. And that smoking John Goodall car is back in front of Castell. Castell leads. Dave Mellor's been taken out there on the straight. Malcolm Mitchell in view there. Rod Falding not far behind. Steve Ferris. No, Fred Skinner, 228. We'll remember that name sometime. 175 Rob Pierce just behind. There's Rod Falding. Tends to get a little overshadowed by his son these days, which must be galling for anyone. There again, he must have a great deal of pride in the way Peter's coming through. Nick Crocker parks on the home straight. And John Goodall finally adds himself to the row of cars that are up by the fence. So, and who's the next visitor? Oh, it's Nigel Hardy. So the second place man getting edged out, and I think they'll have to switch the magnet off now. Gary Castell leads, number 8. We're looking for a second place man now. And it's Malcolm Mitchell, 322. Looks like Rod Falding's in third place. So Mitchell in second this time. And there's the gap down to third place, Rod Falding. In the meantime, there goes Gary Castell, so it's tight for the first 3 places here in the consolation race of Brandon. So that was first, second and third going past, and a long gap down to fourth. In the meantime, there goes Mitchell through into first place. Gary Castell having problems. I think they're in 2 minds as to whether to take that Rob Scriven car out or not. Malcolm Mitchell seizing the opportunity, coming through to hit the front. Going into the final lap now, Malcolm Mitchell from Tamworth. Staffordshire leads. Rod Falding is in third place. Gary Castell holding on to second. And Mitchell driving a fine race here. Looks like he's going to make the final this time. In the meantime, the car's making away pretty well on that turn. Now, indeed, the last lap sign is given. Malcolm Mitchell avoiding the temptation of joining everybody else in that private party over by the pit turn. Malcolm Mitchell coming into the final bend now. Beautiful study of a Formula 1 stock car at speed, broadsiding it round the turn. Malcolm Mitchell wins 322. Second, Gary Castell, number 8, third Rod Falding, 36. They all make their way into the final quite comfortably, and the red flag going out very, very strongly there by Beat. He seemed to be, he seemed like he was almost going to let it go there for a moment. Malcolm Nigel comes in for the win then in the consolation race, joins the other 24 cars already qualified for the final. And indeed, I think, yes, we have the top 6, yes, top 6 qualify from the consolation for a 30-car final. Gary Castell second in number 8. In the meantime, a driver involved in that pile-up, getting attended to by the medical team and the fire team. 317, I think you'll find, that is Nigel Hardy. Nigel from Huddersfield, I think, if my memory serves me right. So, Malcolm Nigel picks up the win in the consolation after being marked down, after originally being given 3rd place in Heat 2, was discovered to be a lap down, had to go out in the consolation and won it. Well, Stuart, what happened there in Heat 3?
What happened? Oh, well, one of the low graders just took a dive for me and we ended up in the fence.
You seemed to have problems with Murray Harrison earlier on, then Robbie Craig. The yellows were certainly getting in the way in that one.
Well, not as much getting in the way. I think I was getting in the way of them by the looks of it.
No, having the best of times here at Brandon this year. The first meeting you had a problem in Heat 1 and we didn't see you again, and you went in the consolation, so you won't be in the final. You got a problem with the car tonight after all that?
Yeah, the oil pressure's gone. I think the mechanical oil pump drive's broken again. It's happened before.
You're getting all the success at Long Eaton, and yet at Brandon you seem to have your problems now and again.
Yeah, I had a good meeting here last meeting. I won the final last meeting. But you know what they say, you can't win them all.
Now, there was a special prize on offer, wasn't there, at Long Eaton, if you could do the 3rd maximum in a row. How close did you get?
Quite close, actually. It's just that I didn't do so well in the heat. I got 8th instead of 1st. I just got caught up in the first few laps. But if I'd have won that in the National, I'd have got the extra cash.
And of course, there was a bit of a bounty on your head. Anyone that beat you in the final got 50 quid, didn't they?
That's right, yeah. I think it was phrase beat me, not actually destroy me, like they were trying to do tonight.
So are we going to see you again, or is the car out of action for good tonight?
No, that's it for tonight. We'll have to take it home and take the sump off and mend it for tomorrow if possible.
So we've seen both sides of the coin. We had that maximum at Long Eaton, the first one we'd had actually on Screen Sport. Now we see the other side of the coin. It's not all plain sailing, is it?
No, you can't win them all. You've got to keep trying.
We look forward to seeing you again. Thanks, Stuart.
Okay.
Well, the cars are coming out now for the grand final in this World Championship qualifier. In the meantime, though, let's just hark back to that consolation for a moment and check the official result. First place, 322, Mark Nigel. Second, Gary Castell. Third place, Rod Falding. Fourth was Rob Pearce. Fifth, John Lander. Sixth place was Dave Mellor, 304. Seventh was number 11, David Squire. Eighth, and the final qualifier, Ian Higgins. No, indeed, he missed out, didn't he? Because it's only 6 qualifiers. Ian Higgins missing out. 136, Dave Taylor. 117 in 10th place, Rob Scriven. The top 6 there, that's Nigel down to Mellor, qualify for the final. And Willie Harrison in view there. Pete Bashford lining up in his place. This Formula One World Championship qualifying round here tonight at Brandon. Coming to the climax now with the staging of the grand final. This meeting sponsored by Ford and Slater. Well, there's Gary Castell, who had that win in the consolation. There's Harry Smith, number 100. He qualified in 6th place in Heat 2 behind Neil Picorni and a few other cars. And just before the cars get on their way, just to give you a bit of information about the sponsors here tonight. Ford and Slater. They're Leyland Trucks dealers. They supply the entire Leyland range from Freight Rover to the Road Train or the Cruiser, the whole thing. And they're based, in fact, in Leicester. So another harkening back to the old days of Leicester Stadium. Sadly missed these days. 46, Ray Bird coming out onto the track as the gate is put together. Murray Harrison then, number 97. And quite a set to Mr. Smith earlier before Robbie Craig copped it off Stewart. 225's Steve Ferris at the front. You heard from him earlier on. Ray Bird not too far behind in the 46 car, and Bird had a good race earlier on. He just missed out in Heat 2 though on a qualifying place after gradually getting edged out by the star drivers, and then qualified through the consolation, or must have done. No, indeed, yes, Ray Bird was upgraded to 8th when Malcolm Leach was dropped in Heat 2 and upgraded the records. So Murray Harrison is who makes the break. Steve Ferris caught already. They couldn't touch him in Heat 1, but this time Howard Davis has, literally. And the 225 and 327 cars locked together. In the meantime, Graham Blundell getting deposited in the fence. I think it was Willie Harrison who put him out there. Blundell getting back in the race. It's Murray Harrison now out in front, number 97. Murray from Kettering, Northamptonshire. And Andy Webb getting a rough ride down the back straight. Ray Bird is in second place in this heat, in this final, rather, by the way. It's to say World Championship points at stake here in the Ford and Slater Grand Finals. So there's going to be some real action as drivers fight for those points. Mo Smith, Mike Shirley there, Terry Jackson getting edged out wide by the Blues coming through. Brian Tuplin just going in there as well, followed by Willie Harrison and Bobby Burns. Howard Davis has just pulled off onto the infield as Murray Harrison heads down around the pit turn. And Harrison away down the back straight. In the meantime, Terry Jackson pulling the bumper in on that group of cars. Nigel Walton, Dave Mellor. Just behind them, Dan Clark. Bert Finnegan also showing now. Tyre in the middle of the track. That Ray Bird just clipping it. Malcolm Leach just behind him. There's Terry Jackson. 485. Nigel Walton, Dave Mellor, Bert Finnegan, Dan Clark, Steve Evans, Rod Falding. I can see Rob Pearce there as well. Glenn Bundle's been dropped, and there is the race leader, Murray Harrison, so he's almost up on some of those reds. Neil Picorni, Andy Webb, Mo Smith just behind. And then Mike Shirley. And indeed, it looks like Mike Shirley may be a lap down, because it's Murray Harrison first. Second is Neil Picorni, third is Andy Webb. There we see him coming through. Brian Tuplin leading the Reds down there. You see those superb lights here of Brandon in the background. Turned nicer today here. Mo Smith indeed is third. Steve Evans going wide there. Rob Pearce can't capitalise on the inside, but one man who has is Beresford. 260. Graham Blundell's found the fence again. I think you'll find Terry Jackson's parked up on the infield as well, by the way. And there he is, the race leader, number 97, Murray Harrison. Harrison, then there's Webb second, third Mo Smith. Neil Picorni up there, Bashford, Gary Castell. Brian Tuplin is coming through very strongly. The waving yellows are out. Some minor disasters happened out on the track, and indeed Bobby Burns. Well, he's going to be returning that car to the hirer with the addition of a couple of dents here and there. So Bobby Burns going over on the same spot where Des Chandler also tried to take a leap at the dog track. This time, though, Bobby doing it the other way around. So the Dave Wadsworth car taking a knocking there as Burns went over. Not the ideal thing to do, obviously, in a borrowed car. So there is the race leader, Murray Harrison, going round on what is now another rolling lap and being brought to a halt by the starter, Brian Beat. In the meantime, Dan Clark can't do much with that barrel underneath. The wheels aren't touching the ground. So waiting for this race to be restarted. It's gone far enough not to be restarted again right from square one. Well, Bobby Burns walks away from the scene of the crash, and the attempt to race the borrowed car tonight coming to grief there with that rollover. Frankie Wayman's parked up on the infield as well, so the national points champion won't be getting any points to the World Championship here tonight. And so that's both the gold and silver cars having their problems here at Brandon. And the cars now setting off on the rolling lap. They have to remain in race order. They're not allowed to overtake. Every car they overtake, they're docked to places for, at the very least. Bert Finnegan there, Rod Falding, Dave Beresford, Rob Pearce. At the back, Steve Evans, 108. So it's 97, 247, 51, 395 is a lap down. 74, Neil Picorni just behind him. Pete Bash Bashford 107 in view just behind Corney and Gary Castell not too far down either. There's Andy Webb though pushing Harrison out of the way. Beautiful piece of stock car driving, shoving Harrison into the wire ropes, and Andy Webb leads. Number 247 Neil Corney trying to hold off the challenge of Pete Bashford. Gary Castell not too far behind. We're not getting too much of a challenge here from the Reds. It does seem when you come to Brandon that you don't see the stars coming through for the wins too often. Webb first, second, Mo Smith. The halfway stage of the race is now reached with the Union Jack flag going out. That's 247 from 51. Here in the grand final, the Ford and Slater sponsored World Championship qualifier. And that flag will be withdrawn now as Andy Webb comes down. No defects being held out for the cars that are a lap down. Webb first, Mo Smith second in number 51. Further down the field, Malcolm Mitchell getting edged out by Bert Finnegan, Rod Falding and David Beresford going around there. There is the race for first and second though. Mo Smith from Aveley in Essex, trailing Andy Webb out in front, number 247, Andy from Daventry in Northants. So it's Midlands against South here in the grand final. Looks a fair way down to third place past those two cars. Indeed, it's something like a quarter of a lap at the very least. And maybe we'll get a shot now off the third place. Shirley Aramady's a lap down, so I think Bashford will be third. Fourth, Neil Corney. Rob Cowley up there. Dave Mellor's coming through the field. I think we've got to watch for that 304 car now. Not too far behind Mellor is Bert Finnegan in number 55. Webb and Smith having an absorbing race, and also further down Bert Finnegan having quite a race. Smith though trying to keep up the stock car tradition of the name Smith, the steward out of things. Trying to go through on the inside of Webb, but Webb holding on. Now can Smith put the bumper in going into the turn? Bert Finnegan just in front of Brian Toplin now. Smith's got the gap, or has he? No, he's going to spin there. He just lost out. Andy Webb coming off the turn, must be coming into the closing stages of this race. Of course, the grand final raced over 20 laps. And Smith trying again. He's trying to force Webb wide, and he's got the gap this time. Mo Smith through. So Mo Smith hits the front in number 51. Second, Andy Webb, 247. In tonight's programme, by the way, they're going to the last lap. In tonight's programme, Charles Ochiltree did mention that the next step for Brisca, now that things seem to be settling down again, is to try and re-establish in the south. Well, when you see some of the drivers going to come up to the Midlands to race like Mo Smith, it does make you think what things will be like in the south. Andy Webb, though, still chasing, and in the meantime, Murray Harrison going through the middle of them. Last lap board indeed going out now for Andy Webb. Andy Webb in first place. Murray Harrison is invading there, but here's a lap down, and he's taken out the race leader. Webb goes out, and Smith comes through for first place. That is now the last lap board coming out. So Murray Harrison, according to the scoreboard here, I thought Harrison was a lap down. It looks like he took out, well, he certainly took out Andy Webb there, the race leader, after forcing his way past Mo Smith, desperately trying to get up into the frame. But there's the checkered flag for Mo Smith. Number 51 had a bit of help there from Murray Harrison. Looks like Bashford may have got second. Third place, Dave Mellor in that basis. So Mellor coming in for some useful points. Well, Murray Harrison was involved with Stuart Smith earlier on and then had quite a say in the end of that race. So Murray Harrison goes round to the end. He's certainly had quite a night of action. First place though, Mo Smith in number 51 in the grand final here tonight at Brandon. And once more, it's one of the lower grade drivers who wins. We've still yet to see a win for a star, superstar or champion here tonight. Well, we have the final winner, Mo Smith, and his son, complete with the trophy. Mo, congratulations on the win in the World Championship qualifier.
Thank you. I badly needed the points as well.
Yes, how many points did you have before today's one?
I think it's about 7.
So you're trying to get a good place on the semi-final grids?
Well, you try as hard as you can to get there, yes. That's the whole aim of racing throughout the year.
As one of these drivers that's based down in the southeast, it must put a lot of mileage on the clock trying to get up to the Brisca meetings.
It's colossal. My local this track is 90 miles from where I live.
As I mentioned in the programme tonight by Charles Ochiltree, that maybe the way forward for Brisca now is to find a track in the south. Obviously, you'd welcome that, would you?
Oh, definitely. We could badly do with it, like, you know.
What brought you into Brisca racing then?
I started with Formula 2s 14 years ago. Done 2 years Formula 2, then swapped over to Formula 1s.
And of course, in those days, there were Brisca tracks in the south, weren't there?
Oh yes, we had a lot, but unfortunately they've all gone.
What were they, by the way?
We had Snetterton, Brands Hatch, Rayleigh, Liddon Hill, Mallory Park, and like they've all just gone, like, you know.
Of course, a couple there laid to rest now.
And West Ham, of course.
Yes, a couple of those gone. I remember Rayleigh myself. That was my old local track. But
that's right. Well, Crayford's gone as well. Like, that's just been closed. I forgot that one, but that's just been closed. A supermarket there.
sadly, we lose our stadiums, don't we?
That's right. The thing is, I suppose, like, they're only used once a week, and the rates must be colossal, I should imagine.
You're going to keep plugging, though, and hope for maybe a bit more local travelling in the future?
Well, I'd like to think that there was a sort of a sort on the horizon, but we haven't heard no news. We just hope there is.
Now, going back to the final tonight, there was quite an end to that race when Murray Harrison suddenly loomed in from nowhere.
That's right, yeah. Unfortunately, I should have been more forceful with Andy Webb and buried him like he tried to me. But I try and outrace him, and I don't use the front bumper as much as perhaps I should do.
Well, congratulations on the final win. I take it, was that your first of the year?
Yes, it is this year, yes.
So many congratulations. Look forward to seeing you later on. Thanks, Mo.
Lovely, cheers, all the best.
With that, as John Lander's car gets towed off the track, let's take a look at the results. So here are the first 10 places then in the grand final, the World Championship qualifier here at Coventry. First, number 51, Mo Smith. Second, Pete Bashford, 107. Third place was Dave Mellor, 304. Fourth place, Bert Finnegan. Fifth was Gary Castell. Sixth place was 260, Dave Beresford. Seventh, Mike Shirley. Eighth, Brian Tuplin. Ninth was Rod Falding. And 10th was Rob Pearce. Those are the top 10 qualifiers, or top 10 drivers, rather, in the World Championship qualifying race. Well, Murray, you've certainly been getting stuck in tonight, haven't you?
Yeah. Matter of having to, really.
What happened in that last race? Because you suddenly appeared there between the first two.
Well, he put me away a bit hard from the word go, like, when he caught me up. And it just happened that, you know, he'd come back in there and a little way away from him, but the engine weren't running too well. I got a bit of a misfire, but it seemed to clear itself. You
had Stuart Smith in a bit of trouble earlier on as well, didn't you?
Well, that weren't really intentional, but that's stock car racing, really.
That's it. So if someone gets you behind and you end up on someone's car, there's not a lot you can do, is there?
Not a lot, no.
once you get that bump from behind, you're just going to hang on and hope, haven't you?
Yeah, well, he didn't seem to throttle off once I was hooked on him, so, you know, there weren't nowhere for me to go, really. I was hooked totally on him.
Well, thanks very much.
Okay.
Harrison. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
We now come to the last race of the night, the Grand National qualifying race. Mo Smith on the one-lap handicap at the front of that group of cars. Just behind him, the two white tops that will lead them off. Mo, of course, going for double points if he can make up that one-lap handicap. Now, the two white tops there. On the outside, 329. Stu Young. On the inside, that'll be Mick Stecker, yes, 419. Cars coming around at walking pace on the rolling lap. And there's the green flag, and the race is underway. Down the home straight comes Mo Smith on a fair way to get round to catch up with the back of the field. Difficult job for a blue top. Graham Atkinson getting taken out. Pete Bashford coming through, a spin out there on the turn. See the shale flying up in front of the camera there. Mick Stecco showing up well in 419, indeed the race leader. Second place is number 11, David Squire. Third, Stuart Smith, 139. Fourth, Pete Bashford. Fifth, there's a yellow top. I can't read the number off. Going down there, I'm afraid. Dan Clark showing well, but Finnegan looks like Harry Smith is coming through. Rod Falding there, dropping back a little. Richard Ainsworth almost getting caught by Mo Smith. Now Ian Higgins has found his way into the fence. Not the best of nights for the new red top. Ian, indeed, I think only picking up an 8th place in the consolation race all night. Mick Stecco joining him, Steve Ferris there as well. One the other top heading for the shortcut across the centre green. And then we have Pete Bashford up from yellow to blue now, who leads this Grand National qualifying race. I do believe now he's got a fair lead, although that's David Squire not far behind. There's Brian Tuplin already working his way through. He's got no worries at all about going up to red. Pete Bashford closing in on Graham Atkinson. Oh, and Bashford spun himself out. 11 now hits the front. That's David Squire. Second place is 412, Dave Tapping. Squire battling with the wheel going down into the turn on the inside of Graham Atkinson. Graham not having the best of nights here. Ian Higgins has rejoined the fray in number 29. Looks like Terry Jackson's car parked up in the infield. Peter Faulding there and Harry Smith having a private battle down the order. Nigel Wharton indeed now up into second place in 4:22. Well, knowing how Wharton goes around this Brandon Bowl, you can't rule him out. No chance of getting past David Squire. Warren Jackson's car abandoned on the infield there. In the meantime, Harry Smith and Peter Faulding have their battle there. Mo Smith just up behind them, having made up the best of that lap. Handicap, there's David Squire, Nigel Wharton second. A little further down the field there, we have Messrs. Faulding and Smith, two Smiths side by side indeed. And Mo's past Harry. And in the meantime, Wharton's through into first place. I think you'll find there. Going through on the inside of Mick Stecco. And looking to put the bumper in on Richard Ainsworth. Edges out the Ulverston driver, but Ainsworth is clinging on. Determined not to go a lap down, but it's the lead to Nigel Wharton in 4:22. Having his own battle there with Ainsworth. Looking now for the second place man. That is still David Squire, although Bashford seems to be coming up again. And indeed Bashford is second behind that race leader, 4:22, Nigel Wharton. Wharton just about to lap Ian Higgins there. There's second place Bashford. And a second place in the final, looking for a second place in the Grand National as well. And he's doing quite well in his move up from yellow to blue. The extra handicap, no problem at all, it would seem, to 107 driver. Wharton in the meantime going through the back markers with relative ease. And the finger goes out from Brian Beats for Nigel Wharton from Shenstone in Staffordshire. And Bobby Burns has made it through into third place in that borrowed car. Nigel Wharton first. So Wharton off the turn. Let's look now at him going down the straight. He goes past Les Spencer. The halfway flag is out. There's Pete Bashford second. Bobby Burns third. 471, and Harry Smith's found his way into the fence. He's brought down part of the Speedway safety fence there, chain link fence. Dave Beresford coming up through the field, but Finnegan is fourth in number 55. Stu Smith 139 and Gary Castell number 8 parked up on the infield. Mick Stecco parked out by the fence where Harry Smith's just cruising along. There is 228 Fred Skinner, about to be the next victim of Nigel Wharton, it would seem. Looking down the order, there's the race between Finnegan and Burns. That would be the race for third place. And Burns is deposited out wide as Finnegan comes through, the new British Drivers' Champion. That title won at Northampton not so long ago. So Finnegan now with a chance of mounting the challenge on Nigel Wharton. We've yet to see a red top win. Looks like Wharton's going to do it in the final race of the night, the Grand National qualifying heat. Wharton down into the pit turn. Let's look for that second place car. And Ian Higgins is lapped, so that's Pete Bashford in second. Third place is Bert Finnegan. And Mick Stecco's car taking a hammering there from Dave Beresford as he came through. I think Beresford is in fourth. Although it might be that blue top. But Nigel Wharton still having no real threat here. It's Pete Bashford second. Third place Bert Finnegan. Those are the top three placings in this last race of the night here at Brandon. Les Spencer getting taken out by Dan Clark. Mick Stecco getting clear of the car, having his problems getting over the speedway fence. It's designed to stop bikes, not for people to climb on, I think is the answer. Here again, how else do you get out of the way? Speaking of speedway, just had the exclusion lights in view there. Nigel Wharton going down into the top turn. Bobby Burns 471 car abandoned on the infield. Dan Clark about to be lapped if Wharton can come through. Wharton first. Bashford is second. Finnegan is third. And Beresford is fourth. So plenty of talent up in the top positions in this one. They've waited a long while. It's the sixth race of the night, to be precise. But finally, those reds are showing up. Although Ian Higgins is having a rough time in his first appearance as the star driver. Going to the closing laps now, Willie Harrison. He's not scoring that many points in the meetings we've seen, picking them up quietly. Obviously, after last year's heart attack, he must be a little concerned about getting too involved. There again, all credit to the driver for still competing. Mind you, Willie is picking up the points here and there. He's, with 2 laps to go now, Willie is second in the blue top list. In fact, number 22 in the points chart, but retains red due to lack of meetings. Well, the 138 points, maybe he's scoring them when we don't have the cameras about. Going into the last lap now. 4:22, Nigel Wharton. And second place, Bert, or rather Pete Bashford. Bert Finnegan trying to put up the challenge here. It looks like Wharton is going to get the win. Finally, a red top comes in to win a race here at Coventry. Nigel Wharton picks up the checkered flag for first place in the Grand National race. Looks like Bashford got second. So that's Wharton first in 4:22. Pete Bashford second, 1:07. Third, Bert Finnegan in 55. And I can presume that Dave Beresford got the fourth in 2:60. So that's it. The end of the night's racing here at Brandon as the cars gradually wind down on the post-race rolling lap. And so Nigel Wharton goes to the start line to pick up the checkered flag and the trophy, donated by tonight's sponsors, Ford and Slater, Leyland Truck Dealers from Leicester. Our thanks to them for their sponsorship of stock car racing. And Nigel Wharton goes off now for his lap of honour, with some charming company there, going on to the pace vehicle. Well, that's all we have time for here at Brandon. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's Brisca Formula 1 meeting. Certainly the chase for World Championship points got quite heated here tonight. Stuart Smith certainly being a victim. Frankie Wayman had to pull out with clutch trouble, by the way, after pulling out of that race early on. I think that was the Constellation, no, the Grand Final, or yes, the Grand Final he had to pull out of at an early stage. And as Nigel Wharton goes round on his lap of honour, it's a very good night from myself, Ron McCaffrey, from Brandon Stadium. We look forward to seeing you again next week for another dose, and a liberal dose at that, of Brisca stock car racing. Good night from Brandon.